The endless sky of Xeron, 5 shimmered in violet and gold, casting its alien light across the glassy plains of the capital city, Vale. Towering crystalline spires reflected the sunset, and the hum of anti-gravity vehicles whispered across the sky. But beneath the beauty of this thriving metropolis, a crisis had been quietly consuming the population for decades. The alien species known as the Thrynn had reached a point of critical infertility. Young Thrynn girls were being born sterile, their reproductive systems unable to sustain their race. Entire colonies were shrinking, and the Thrynn Council despaired. In a hidden lab beneath the council chambers, Dr. Lyra Kess, one of the most respected scientists in the galaxy, examined another failed embryo. Her tentacles trembled slightly as she withdrew the sample from the incubator. Every experiment ended the same way. Nothing. The Thrynn people were on the brink of extinction, and no solution had worked. A low chime interrupted her thoughts. "Dr. Kess," said a calm voice from the doorway. The human arrived. Lyra turned to see a human standing there, tall and lean, wearing a suit that seemed almost laughably outdated compared to Thrynn technology. His eyes, however, were sharp, intelligent, fearless, and oddly comforting. The human's name was Vale, and somehow he had been recruited to this crisis mission. The Council's rationale had been unconventional, even controversial. Humans, they believed, might hold the key to Thrynn fertility. But nobody had expected Ethan to arrive with a calm confidence that unsettled everyone. "I'm here to help," Ethan said simply. "Show me what you need me to do." Lyra hesitated, then gestured to the incubators. "Every attempt to create viable Thrynn embryos has failed. The females are infertile. We've studied everything, but..." She stopped herself. Explaining the situation in full detail might overwhelm him. "We believe humans may carry the genetic compatibility necessary to help them reproduce." Ethan nodded slowly. "Then let's start." The first few sessions were tense. Ethan had to learn the physiology of the Thrynn girls quickly, and the lab assistants hovered nervously around every procedure. Lyra explained how the human DNA interacted with Thrynn biology in ways the species' own genetic engineering had never been able to replicate. The girls, though nervous at first, seemed to respond to Ethan's presence. There was a strange, almost instinctual connection that no one could explain, an inexplicable bond that transcended culture, language, and even species. One young Thrynn girl, named Sarah, had been considered completely infertile. Her parents had given up hope long ago. Yet, when Ethan entered the chamber, she did not flinch or recoil like the others. Instead, she watched him with an expression of cautious curiosity. When Lyra began the procedure, something remarkable happened. The embryo in the incubator began developing at an unprecedented rate. Lyra's sensors confirmed it. Growth was steady, healthy, and perfectly viable. For the first time in decades, a Thrynn child could be born. The room erupted in stunned silence. Ethan blinked, looking from the monitor to Lyra. "Is it working?" he asked. Lyra swallowed, tears prickling at the edges of her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "It's working. You're the key." Word spread quickly. What had begun as a scientific experiment became a symbol of hope for an entire species. Other infertile Thrynn girls were brought into the program, and the same results occurred. The human genetic material appeared to provide the missing link in their reproductive system, enabling the creation of healthy embryos. The council was astounded and, at first, wary of the implications. Could one human truly influence the future of an entire species? And if so, what did that mean for interspecies relations in the galaxy? Ethan, however, was unconcerned with politics. He focused on the girls, ensuring their comfort, their emotional well-being, and the success of each procedure. He treated each one with respect and kindness, and the Thrynn began to respond to him not just as a donor or a tool, but as a protector and a guide. Rumors even began circulating that the girls were forming bonds with him that went beyond science. Bonds that felt natural. Sarah, the first success, became particularly attached. She would follow him between labs, ask him questions about Earth, and sometimes just sit quietly in his presence, her huge violet eyes reflecting the stars. Ethan found himself smiling despite the stress of the work. There was something profoundly human about this connection, the empathy, the patience, the unspoken understanding between species. Months passed, and the first Thrynn children were born. Healthy, vibrant, and full of life, they were celebrated as miraculous. The council held a formal ceremony, honoring Ethan for his contributions. "You have not only saved our species," one elder said, "but you have restored hope where none remained. You are more than an ally. You are a part of our history." Ethan nodded humbly. "I only did what any human would do," he said, though Lyra could see the pride in his posture. He had risked his safety, endured the scrutiny of an entire alien civilization, and yet he had not faltered. But even as the celebration continued, a more personal bond was forming. The Thrynn girls who had been part of the fertility program looked at him differently now. It wasn't just gratitude, it was trust, admiration, and something deeper that transcended words. Sarah, especially, seemed to embody this connection, often holding his hand in quiet moments as if to anchor herself to the one being who had changed her destiny. Years later, as the first generation of human Thrynn hybrids grew, the galaxy would remember Ethan Vale not just as a savior, but as a pioneer. He had bridged species, healed a dying race, and reminded both humans and aliens that compassion, courage, and simple human kindness could change the course of history. The Thrynn were no longer facing extinction. They were thriving, their future secured not just by science, but by the bravery of a single human who had refused to walk away. And for Ethan, the greatest reward was simple: the quiet moments, the trust in their eyes, and the knowledge that he had given hope where hope had been lost.